But cool. I'm so excited. Are you excited?
I'm nervous and excited.
Oh my gosh, nothing to be nervous about. This is us, two gals in one Zoom, getting to talk about you and your incredible candle company and the badass that you are. And you're such an inspiration to me. Like you're on that hustle, you know? I think
Thank
that
you.
what draws me to you and to what you do is that while we obviously work in very different lanes, there's that entrepreneurial spirit of like wanting to do something with the talents that you have that is on your own terms. And
Hmm.
I'm just obsessed with women who carve their own path and like play the game by their own rules, you know. And I think you're obviously doing that, and you're creating some really great product as well. And so I think that that is very exciting.
Thank
So
you. Thank
yeah,
you.
you know, I think what's really cool is like a mutual friend connected us. And for the listeners and anyone who knows me, they know I'm sort of obsessed with candles. Like I always have candles burning in my house. I'm gifted candles, I buy candles, I give people candles. I have a candle problem, if you want to call it that. And you know, when I'm in production especially, oftentimes, you know, we're these pop-up productions, we rent temporary production space for our offices. And so you're walking into these sort of really bland, not very impressive office spaces half the time, at least in my world. And so I've always loved bringing personal touches from my like personal life to infuse the space. And one of the things I always have is a candle. Like ask anybody who's worked with me. They come into my office and sometimes it'll stop someone dead in their tracks. They're like, what's that smell? You know? And then we'll
Hmm.
talk about the
Hmm.
candle and it's like, okay, here's this accounting report. And you're like, awesome. I was immediately drawn to you, drawn to LAIT, drawn to the incredible smells that you have. It's such a variety. And then the fact that it's like your own company and it's hand poured, eco friendly here in LA. I was
Hmm.
just like, okay, I need to talk to this girl. Who is this girl? So, so
Thank you.
tell us, who are you?
I have been candle making ever since I was young. So when I was a little girl, I've always been shy. And I always thought that it was because that's just my personality. But what was interesting is that the older that I'm getting, I'm starting to realize that my shyness was actually a reflection of the different cultural background that I had. So, as
Mm,
an Asian minority, I was in a predominantly white, neighborhood. And so it took me a while to really feel comfortable in my skin. So my love language, as you can say, is craft making. So I
yep.
would, go to those craft stores. It was like my toy store at the time. And I would just experiment, make soaps, make candles. And then I would, have a little pen pal, like, club with my closest friends because not all of my friends went to the same school. As I got older, of course, I wanted to pursue fashion. I was in a like fashion merchandising career. So it was really great because I think one of the things that I love is just being in a fast paced environment. If things are very, stale and it's very, day to day with, 100% structure on it, I
Mm.
feel like my type of personality, I don't feel motivated as much. And I kind of thrive in challenges. I think fashion was definitely something that, I was so drawn to because of that. It was very high paced and you were just always running around. And back then, I always had the energy to do so.
Yeah.
um, but, I continued to make candles just, during this holiday season, let's say, and I would just, pour candles for my friends and family, just to kind of unwind and detox and found it really therapeutic. So basically, my brother has been in the event industry. So he had his own event company. So he was doing a lot of charities, he was doing a lot of weddings. And one of the things would also be, thinking about gifting. So
Mm.
naturally he would ask me, hey, can you pour 30 candles? And I'd be, at first I was very nervous because I always, gifted it to my friends and family. So I was nervous just kind of having strangers burn my candles because I wasn't sure if they would love the scent. And I was, it was very intimidating, but he kind of got me to start doing that. And, at first it was small, like, quantities, and it was for donating to, the breast cancer foundation. And then eventually it was like 150 candles for a wedding. And that's when I just continued to do candle making as a side, passion project while pursuing fashion. Yeah, so that's kind of how LAIT just organically, blossomed. And it's been about 3 years that I have been doing LAIT full time now. So I moved away from the fashion industry, and it was definitely nervous making that jump from getting a steady paycheck and all of that to just going in full time. So it's been very, very challenging. It's also been a lot of fun. And most of all, what really keeps me going every day is the new connections and the continuous connections that I'm making, especially with women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what was the importance for you when you were, as you created LAIT and as it's grown and now it's in its
Mm-hmm.
third year of having a company that does create an eco-friendly product? And it
Mm-hmm.
sounds like, you do have to go the extra mile to create something that can exist in a marketplace that can sort of like withstand the competition. And as, like I said, like a candle
Right.
connoisseur, I have smelled a lot of candles ranging from, whatever you can buy at like Ross to high-end candles at Saks.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a distinct, I think, difference, but ultimately it's about a feeling, right, that the candle
Mm-hmm.
like leaves you with. And so talk a little bit about that, just like making that such a priority for your business and really being able
Mm-hmm.
to like stick to it, because I'm sure it's challenging.
Yeah, that's a really great question. One of the things that I was very intimidated about was, being a minority in this big industry because, you could imagine even Yankee Candle Company to Bath and Body Works, all of these are huge like candle conglomerates, and
Yeah.
the fragrance industry is really big. They have a lot of financial support. So that was something that I was very challenged by. And my unique angle for LAIT is that I specialize in custom candles. So I'm a custom candle, boutique company, but I also, have this ethos of being sustainable. In order for me to create a product that speaks your language, then I need to understand what your brand is about and what you are
Yeah.
passionate about. So that really, created this wonderful relationship with my clients, because it wasn't just a matter of we need, this specific lavender candle. It was, me being very curious about like, okay, why do you want this candle? What is your story? Like, how did you build your brand?
Yeah, exactly. Like if you could bottle up whatever it is about the origins of that business into a
Right.
candle and a scent, like what would that be? And I think that's a fun, really fun, I think, question and challenge for anybody to try to like, oh God, what would my scent be? As you were talking, I was like, I wonder what my scent would be like.
Yeah.
It's just so interesting. But yeah, and speak to that, like how does someone find their own scent?
I always encourage for my clients to smell my signature collection. So currently, I have about 16 different scents in my collection. And the way that I curated and created these blends was because I wanted to introduce, very unexpected notes. So, for example, I don't like patchouli, or I don't like, anything spicy.
Mm,
And what I wanted to do was I wanted to challenge those senses, and I wanted to introduce additional notes to notes that typically people are not used to, and create like a really lovely layered blend. So, the thing that I love is when, people smell, for example, one of my best selling scents is smoke milk.
yeah,
I think you
I
smell that
love.
one too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I love that one.
um, yeah, and it's definitely, it's very layered. So it starts off with this coconut, like very cozy, sweet, like warm scent, and it has some notes of almond in it. So there is
Mm.
a little bit of that bitter almond, type of scent. And then it starts layering into a smoky sage. So there is sage oil in there, and then there's also some tobacco and a little hint of patchouli. So um, it really creates this experience where it hits the nose to somebody and then they're like, oh, but I typically don't like coconut and I don't like sweet scents. But then when they light it and burn it and they just kind of experience this whole scent and they're like, ooh, but there's something that I'm drawn to about it. And that's the type of scents that I love to do. So, when my clients smell the signature scents, then they'll start pulling some notes that they're really drawn to. Another fun way is I've done this several times. So it is, their childhood nostalgic memory of, they grew up in Hawaii and they've always smelled the jasmine in their backyard. I basically create different types of inspirations based on that scent.
I think it's really fun that you get to challenge people's perceptions of what they may have always known to be a one way of thinking or seeing or smelling something
Right.
through candles. And I don't know, it's such a metaphor for our life and this moment we're living
Yeah.
in and our culture. And I think as women who are entrepreneurs and have to be our own cheerleaders, and women from diverse backgrounds who constantly have to like fight to be seen in a landscape where we do sometimes feel like we are the minority even though we are the majority. I just think it's an interesting concept. I don't know if you've ever thought about it that way, that and I
Right.
think that's like a really cool metaphor for tolerance, honestly.
I love that. Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
yeah, I never even thought of it that
I,
way,
I
but
I
that's
just thought
so
of that right now. If you can open yourself up to your sense of smell being challenged, then what else are you willing to open yourself up to?
right. Scent has a powerful way of speaking to people, to anyone, regardless
Yeah.
of their background. Scent really just evokes the biggest emotion without
Yeah.
me having to really explain anything.
Absolutely. What's a fun or maybe unexpected fact about you and LAIT?
Let's see here. My closest friends know this and my family knows this, but because I create these candles that are made to be in an elegant space and really just add this beauty
Such
and
as this
the
candle right here that's burning in the
yes,
background in
yes.
this elegant space near my Buddha.
Yes, exactly. It basically creates this mood and just brings this calmness and peace. And the fun irony is that behind that, candle making is just literally it's I feel like a mad scientist.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It'd be fun to do a little behind the scenes tour of your studio at some point when
Yes,
COVID
yeah.
permits, because I personally would love to see how the magic happens. Like as someone who works behind the scenes, I am fascinated by how anything gets made and put together. So that would be a fun thing to do at some point.
Yeah.
I feel very excited about where you're headed and to be meeting you this early into your journey, but you're also
Hmm.
off to much greener pastures. You have so many great things on the horizon for you, and I'm excited about our partnership, however that ends up
Yes.
looking, and to amplify what you're doing. And it goes both ways.
I haven't been able to really connect with a lot of women in the producer, entertainment film world. And when we met, I felt like our connection was the fact that we are both in a male dominated industry and we are, constantly being creative in order to create more opportunities.
Yeah.
And, the thing that I love about you and what really stood out to me was the fact that amplify women's voices. The fact that you have this platform and you share stories. I think those are the ways that we can continue to grow and continue to empower others. We don't get to see you like, we see your work, and that's kind of the way that it's linear with lay, is that, people see my candles, but they don't really see me. So I think, the fact that we have that commonality of being behind the scenes and also just understanding what our stories are, I think that is just an amazing opportunity. And
Yeah.
we talked about creating your scent
Yes,
too.
and we
So
will. I can't wait. I
yes,
need
I
to like
can't wait to
figure out what
start.
it's gonna be now. Oh,
Yes, I know that you love the woodsy, you love the Eve there that
I
you're
do.
burning over there. Yeah,
I
so
do. Yeah. Yeah. I think what's really important to me as a person who is now, I have this show, I have this platform, I have
right.
some semblance of an influence. I really want to align myself with brands that are doing things that I personally believe in and
Mm-hmm.
support, so that my listeners and the people who are interested in hearing what I think about anything
Right.
will know that if I'm ever promoting something or amplifying someone, whether it's a producer who's on my show or a female entrepreneur, it's because I
Right.
personally really believe in them and what they're doing and want them to do as well, because I think
Right.
that's how we all rise up together. And so I feel very, very excited about this and exposing your brand,
Right.
exposing LAIT. I
Thank
feel,
you.
yeah, I cannot wait to do my original scent with you, and excited for all that's to come, and for people
Right.
to like get in on you early before you're like, in the middle of every magazine being recommended by every
Oh,
editor in town. It's true.
no, thank
It's true.
you. Thank you.
So
I'm so
thank you.
excited about our partnership. I still have so much to learn about your industry. And I know that all these women are there. They are working so hard, and they are probably overshadowed. So
Yeah, absolutely.
thank you for, creating this platform and this opportunity. Yeah,
It's my
I can't.
pleasure.